Friends, hello, hope you are well. Let's go into three stocks here that I have been obsessed with, been watching, and I'm not going to say a bunch of bad stuff about one of them in particular, but I am going to give my concerns about one stock in particular here that I'm just worried about. There's some things that I'm highly worried about. So let's kind of break it down here. Let's start with DJT here and kind of just a short, sweet, simple story. What's going on here with the stock and what we probably can expect here. So DJT has done kind of what I have personally been hoping for and what I've been expecting. Trump news, Trump hype is kind of calming down a little bit. I mean, it's still out there. People are excited. He's releasing his cabinet people, all that. But, Trump mania is kind of calming down a little bit here. So people are moving on. They're forgetting about Trump media here. They're selling off or not getting volume back at this moment. And just people are putting their money elsewhere, consolidating here, there, selling out their bags. We're almost through November at this point. December's coming up, and December, no matter where, is always, it starts off good in the month, and then it just starts selling off because people are getting rid of their bags. They're getting ready for their taxes. They're taking some money. Not taking money, they need Christmas money, they're traveling, yada yada yada. So it's kind of not the best last 2 weeks in the market. So with that though, my game plan, and when I said this last time, some people got upset with me, but I want you to really understand what I'm trying to, I'm leaving you breadcrumbs here. I'm essentially trying to tell you what I think is going to happen here. Not that I'm a wizard or a genius at this stuff, but someone who's been following this stock for a long time now, not just this year, but when it was Digital World acquisition, 4 years ago when it came to market here, but it just came, Digital World and Trump Media here became one this year. What I think is going to happen here, more than likely, I think the stock is going to continue to bleed here. There's going to be a few days here or there, one day out of the week here where it's gonna rise a little bit, and then it's going to sell. But each time we're going to probably see more progression of selling off. I think that's going to be the general consensus here. Unless, there's a big day for Trump comes out, gives some kind of speech or something. But more than likely, it's going to get a little more quiet for Trump here. Right now, he's doing what he's doing. And, it's the mania is dying down at this point, which is good. Okay. And here's why. So personally, here's what I'm doing. I am building up capital in an account, okay? Watching other stocks that I can sell off. Personally, what I want to do here is I want to have cash. I want to have cash come January. By the end of December, the beginning of January 2025 here, the 20th is the inauguration. That's Martin Luther King Day. The market is closed regardless, okay? But that Friday leading up to the 20th, and then that Tuesday, which is 21st, after the 20th of the inauguration, the stock market's going to be going crazy, especially afterwards. If Trump media here can bleed down to around $12 to $15, okay, and it could do more than that. The stock has done that plenty of times in the past. The stock is famous for just falling, and then whoop, 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 picking right back up off some news, okay? It's still very much a fake play. It's a very much just FOMO. It's very just unorganic move. This is completely investors moving this right now. So with that, more than likely, we're going to continue to see sell-off here with this stock, okay? That's probably what's going to happen, okay? Because people are just losing interest. But with that, I personally am probably going to come back in around January 5th, January 10th, somewhere in there, depending how low the stock is. Now, if the stock sells off more to that point, if I can get in around $10 to $15, okay, I'll feel good about that area. But I'm going to hold the stock until at least after January, after the inauguration, at least afterwards, depending on what that Friday does before the inauguration, but more than likely till afterwards, okay, because the market will be running crazy hot at that point. But why am I going to do that? I'm going to do that because I know this stock, even if this stock bleeds down to say $5, okay, and that I don't know if it could go that far, that would be a huge sell-off, but whatever it goes down to here, I know it's going to run extremely hard. We all know it. Everyone is doing the same thing right now. Everyone's loading the boat. Now, the problem with the situation of that right now is that the stock is heavily being watched by halting computers, systems, whatever you want to say here. The week leading up to inauguration, I do believe the stock will really start to pick up. So let's say the stock by the end of December, beginning of January, it's sitting around $12 to $15 because that's a happy place for it. That's where it's bled off multiple times at this. The stock starts trailing back up to 15 to 18 to 25. Now we're back into right under 30. We get by Thursday before inauguration, we're back into a $30 range. Friday, day before the week before inauguration days, the stock's back up to $30 $35. That's going to be a key sign right there that this stock is running hard. Even if you're buying it at $25 $30 at that point, more than likely the stock is going to probably at least hit 40. Now, why am I talking about a slow growth rate here that week? It's probably going to have to happen that way because it's going to be halted. If not, the stock is being highly watched, and obviously that's going to be a heavy manipulation of a week for investors. But it's going to be pure hype. It's going to be pure run. It's going to be pure excitement. It's going to be pure frenzy, chum in the water at that point. Okay, so this is my game plan. Okay, essentially, when the stock gets down, when the stock looks scary, beat down, pulverized here, if we can get this thing into some low teens, I'm coming in, baby. I'm coming in, and I am gathering up as many shares as I can, because I have to believe that once again, if the stock was ever going to run to insane numbers, it's going to be inauguration week. It's going to be that week. Trump's inaugurated. He's president. The market's going flipping nuts. Numbers galore. And the one stock that will be doing probably some of the biggest gains is going to be Trump media here, because everyone knows it. Everyone's going to be going after it, and everyone's watching it. Okay. This is no mistake that the stock is selling off. Do not be naive to what is unfolding in front of you in the next 40 days with this stock, okay? The stock is going to continue to bleed off. It probably is going to. Like I said, it's going to have a few good days here. But as you watch here, it's going to slowly trickle down. Tomorrow, we might be back at 29. But then from there, we're going to bleed back down to 25. Next Monday, we may hit 27. But then from there, we're probably going to bleed to 23. This is probably more than likely what's going to continue to unfold here with the stock. Okay, so this is it. This is the last ride. This is the last big pump right here. Okay. It's been a heck of a year with the stock. And now after that, people want to know, well, what about after that? What do you think is going to happen with the company after that? Well, after that, I don't want to repeat myself because I went over this already so much, but I generally think, obviously, after that, there's going to be half of an investor group that are going to stay in this because they believe in Trump. They want to be a part of this company. They don't care about quarterlies, nothing like that. Okay, they're just going to stay in it. But probably they're going to take the most damage. Okay, that's not to be mean. That's just logistically, that's what's going to happen. Because either way, after January of inauguration, this stock is going to sell off once again. Okay, and then it's going to find its low ground on top of that. But with that too, I'm going to be honest, I wouldn't be surprised to see the stock do what it did this year for quite a while, at least until the summer. Trump's president, there's still a lot of hype around the stock. There's still a lot of what if. There's still a lot of manipulation with the stock for the next few months. I would not be surprised, from January until somewhere around May or June, the stock was still manipulated for anywhere from a $20 to $40 range in that time span. I just would not be shocked about that at all. So I think either way, the next months after inauguration, the stock is still going to be very, very much tossed around with some high gains, high numbers, a lot of volume in it, just because of the situation of it. And I do believe the market's going to continue to do well a few months into a Trump presidency here, just with everything that's going to happen here. So friends, that is my plan with Trump media here. That doesn't mean it has to be yours, but that's kind of what I'm doing here. I've been watching the stock for a long time, and it has pretty much shown how it moves at this point. It is pretty much, a creature of habit at this point of what it does. And this $25 to $35 range, that is a safe spot for this stock. That's always like, once it gets to 25, back up to 25, it goes to 30. Once it gets to 35, it always will do more than 35 if we know there's more coming down the line here with news and volume. So that's why I'm gonna be honest. This is what I'm gonna do with it. I'm gonna do this because I know everyone else is gonna do it. Don't be scared to start off the year with making a lot of money with a move. Listen, the stock's going to be okay no matter what. The face of the company, the guy who's the face of the company, is going to be the new president. He's going to be the 47th president here. So the stock's going to have a good year regardless. We're not even talking about quarterlies. We're not talking about what earnings deals they have. The stock's going to run on pure hype for quite a while because people are going to be manipulating it. And you know what? That's just what it is. And there's money around that. There's in and outs. There's ways to get in. There's ways to get out. Okay, and that's just what it's going to be. So that's my plan. I'm sticking to it, and that's what I'm going to do. Okay, touching on SoundHound one more time. I just talked about SoundHound, so I don't want to go over it too much because I just yapped about it here. But, key bullet points here is that SoundHound just came out with quarterlies. Quarterlies were fantastic. I mean, they were everything we wanted them to be, increase in money, customer basis. They just got a new contract on top of that too. So it is a very much growing company that's been releasing great quarterlies, and it's expected this coming year of 2025 just to continue to double revenue at this point. It could be more than that. Like I said, SoundHound is in this place right now where it's one huge deal away from just being noticed by everyone. And that's going to be a problem. Why is that a problem? It's a problem because that's when it's going to start to get real expensive, okay? One thing that we've seen with a lot of these AI stocks, once they get noticed, once they get a few big deals and they already have a solid foundation, they get expensive real fast. There's no telling how fast and how soon SoundHound could get rolling here. Even today, I was expecting more of a sell-off, SoundHound finding more of a ground here today. And this is why I told people, don't be shocked if SoundHound goes back to 550 here. I don't think that's too crazy to say. I still don't think that's too crazy. Of course, I'm talking about a bad sell-off day. I'm talking about people are selling out and, we're seeing some resistance here. The situation right now is that SoundHound worked its way right back up into a $7 mark today. Okay. And now all these analysts, these articles are coming out. They're talking about SoundHound. They're raising their price on it from, 7 to 8. Some are even saying 9 to 10. So, there's a lot of projections coming out. There's a lot of positive news around SoundHound, and now I'm seeing everyone's talking about SoundHound. So, not only is SoundHound releasing good numbers, good growth, but it's in the air. It's in the zeitgeist. People are talking about it. People are like, I'm going to start buying, there's an AI company that's under $10 that's connected to NVIDIA and, that's projected to double its revenue next year. I'm going to start buying some shares. So this is how things start to get really expensive here. And this is what we're seeing with SoundHound. This is why I was telling people 5 months ago, listen, it's going to be the dark horse of 2025. It's going to come up out of nowhere. Before we know it, people are going to go, SoundHound's $8. SoundHound's $12. SoundHound's $15. When did this happen? This is going to be the problem, man. People, you're not going to be able to get enough of it. You're not going to be able to get enough capital in it if you don't start paying attention to SoundHound here. I think there's a lot of us that are sitting in it and are in very comfortable positions. And I mean, honestly, if you're buying SoundHound for the next 5 to 10 years, you're really wanting to grow with this company, with the stock here, which you should be, because there's a lot coming down the pipeline with AI in general. But SoundHound here is going to be a company where, it could be a year from now and you're going to be begging you could have bought it at $6 to, even $10 at that point. So that's kind of where the revenue growth is looking like it's going here with SoundHound. It is increasing at a very, very high pace here. So friends, like I said, I just talked about SoundHound, so I don't want to go over it too much. I just literally talked about them yesterday and gave my whole thesis on it. But SoundHound, I mean, me personally, SoundHound is in my top 5 of stocks I am watching for 2025, and that I am trying to accumulate as much capital as I can in that stock, because I believe it is going to ridiculous numbers. I believe it's going to go into 5-10 years. It's going to be in parabolical numbers. I mean, I think it's going to eventually one day it could be somewhere like a little Nvidia at that point, because I don't want to go over this too much, but where I kind of think AI is going to go mostly into with automobiles, with these autonomous I can't say the word. Anyway, these robots that they're making here, autonomous robots, is that the right word? Walking around, they're going to be talking. I would not be surprised to see Tesla come out and try to make some deal with SoundHound here. So that's why I said SoundHound is just one huge deal away from getting very expensive. Okay, that is the realization that you have to think of right here. It's only going to take one big deal, and then SoundHound, if you're already in it, it's going to go bloop, and you're going to be like, that's awesome. If you're not, you're going to go, crap, like I knew I should have made a move. That's where SoundHound's at right now. It's waiting for one big day, one big contract, and it's off to the races after that. So that's SoundHound. Fubo. Okay, I have not talked about Fubo on here in a while, because usually when I talk about Fubo, it does not go well, okay? Here's the good thing with Fubo that I want to say first before I start going into my concerns about Fubo, okay? So, first of all, I do want to preference this with, listen, there's like people that I take guidance from on YouTube as well, and I don't want to name names, but there's one person in particular that is betting very high on Fubo, and he's taking a lot of criticism right now. But I get why he's betting on Fubo. But this is someone that I have immense respect for. I like Fubo. I believe in Fubo. What is there not to believe in? The company has been releasing great quarterly after great quarterly after great quarterly. Some people like the CEO, some people don't. I get it, all that. I'm not going into that. The problem here with Fubo right now, there's a problem. It's a huge problem. It is a David and Goliath problem, okay? This situation started over a year ago here with Fubo and Disney. Just case in point, short story, if you don't know, Fubo, their main bread and butter is sports package, okay? Around 80, I think it's around like $80 a month, something like that. That's kind of their thing. And of course you can add on all that, whatever. Fubo's doing great in quarterlies. And Fubo, one of their main thing is sports package, and football season is a big deal for them, okay? Now Disney's done this before in the past, but this is something different. Disney came out here a while back and they said, hey, we're going to release, since we own Fox and we have all this stuff we can do here, ESPN, all that, we're going to release our own sports package, and it's going to be half the price at $42. And immediately Fubo went, whoa, we're calling the lawyers. You can't do that. That's a monopoly. Essentially what Disney was doing is they were taking just the key demographic sport channels and putting them all together, taking out all the other crap, and putting it at an insane cheap price. And of course, people are like, that's great. But if you are an investor with Fubo, that's a huge problem, okay? Because Fubo has that package, but it also comes with a lot of other things that they have to put in there when it comes to all these laws and things like that. So, trying to put this out there as clean as I can with language, anyway, they already went to court to kind of just rough up feathers and say, hey, to stop Disney, because Disney was about to release this thing. They had it made. It was out there. They were going to release it. They went to court, and the judge ruled that Disney could not do this. Okay, well, guess what happened? Everyone was excited. Fubo won, but we knew, I told people, I released the video, and I said, hey, I would be careful buying in here, because Fubo started to shoot up. Like, people are like, they won. No. Disney came back out days later and they said, we're taking you to a bigger court, more lawyers, we're raising Johnny Cochran from the dead. That's what they're doing. There is a court case on October 6, 2025. So at the end of 2025 here, there will be an even bigger court case to decide this. Now, of course, there's people saying, well, Fubo's already won. Of course, they're going to win again. Key points, okay? Because people get mad at me when I talk about this. Is it undervalued? Absolutely, it's undervalued. Okay, that's why articles keep coming out here where they say Fubo should be around $2.50 or $3, and they keep saying that it's undervalued, but they won't talk about the lawsuit. It's like they don't want people to know. Why is the lawsuit such a big deal? It's a huge deal. It's a huge deal. Imagine if you keep putting money, in which I'm going to go to this here because this is another way to play this system, and it's kind of what I'm doing. If you're investing in a Fubo right now at these insanely cheap prices, where Fubo is playing around 140 to 160 on a really good day and is struggling to get there, if you're just buying it every week, 10, 20, 30, 50 bucks here, there, by October of next year, you're going to have quite a bit of capital in Fubo. You're going to have quite a bit of shares here, okay? Now, at that point, that's a risk, because two key elements here. What if they don't win the case? What if it gets delayed again? What if Disney is trying to bleed out Fubo right now with its stock? Large companies have done this before, where they've where they have went after the stock of a company and bled it. And this is what we're watching right now with Fubo. Fubo stock is getting cheaper, cheaper, and cheaper. Okay, and it's losing patience, it's losing trust with investors. It's a huge problem for them right now, okay? And it needs to be addressed. Is Fubo undervalued? Of course it's undervalued. Fubo should be sitting at least $3.50 to $4 at this point. There's no, I don't think anybody's disagreeing with that conversation. The problem is, are they going to win the case? Will they? Yeah, they might. I don't know. Okay? Now, obviously, what I just said, could you just keep buying it all year? Yeah, you could, and just take the risk that they'll win, okay? Or is this going to get pushed back again? I don't know. Two things with that. Two more things, bullet points here. I'm trying to give every scenario that I can think that might happen here. Okay? More than likely what I think, and this is going against the grain with some people that I highly looked to for guidance, they think Fubo is going to start to go up in price here. I don't think there's any indication that that's going to happen. I hope I'm wrong. I hope Fubo goes up, but it hasn't. You see, it hasn't. Fubo has struggled. This is not just like a few days, a few weeks, a few months. This is over a year at this point that this has been going on. Listen, I was here, I was an investor in Fubo before this whole thing came up. So when this whole lawsuit, the first time it came up, I was involved in Fubo, and I took a bad bag holding in Fubo when this came up, okay? So I held for a long time, and I finally got my money out of it, and then I started the position over. Thank God. This is a situation where you're taking a risk where this could go. Why I'm saying that is because Fubo could bleed back. It could bleed down to 120, 130 at this point, okay? Yes, it's been releasing good quarterlies. That's nothing new. Fubo doesn't care, and big investors don't care. We're not seeing big investors step into Fubo right now because of this Disney thing. Okay? It's a huge problem, like I said. So friends, key bullet points. Yes, Fubo, if this can be settled, they'll do great. They're going to do great, okay? I'm sure, but this is eating up money, time, investor relations, and one of the main things too is Disney going to stop? Is Disney ever going to stop? You know, this is why I talk about the David and Goliath situation, is because Disney's got all the money. Fubo's got a little money. You know, it's got a lot of money, but it's not Disney money. You know, Fubo doesn't have Disney money. You know, Disney is one of the biggest companies in the world, okay? So they can pay just to keep having this thing go through the courts as long as they want, because they know if they can get this sport package out there and take the market in it, it's going to make them billions into the future, okay? So I don't make this video to scare you out of Fubo. I just make this video to tell you what I'm thinking in my head, okay? This is kind of how I see Fubo. It is a huge risk. Do not let anybody fool you in that it's not. But where there is risk, there is high reward, okay? So Fubo, yes, they could win this next big court case. They could. I don't know. My fear is that Disney is gearing up to really bring something out here, okay? And even still, if there is some kind of just like agreement to where Disney's like, okay, whatever. Well, we'll still do what we're gonna do, and we'll add a few more channels, and we'll raise the price to $60. It's still a problem. It's still competition. It's still gonna eat away at Fubo's bread and butter, and Fubo's gonna have to come up with something more. Fubo's not making movies. Fubo's not. They don't have other ways of revenue. It's just Fubo. I don't know. So that's just me. I hope that doesn't like make anybody terribly mad. Like I said, when I talk about Fubo, people get insanely mad. And I am guilty. Listen, I am guilty. I was telling people before this Disney shenanigans. I was like, Fubo's going to go to $5. It's going to go to $7. Of course. That was before all this crap started to happen. Okay, that was before all this started to take place. And now, and I personally, I didn't think it was going to be that big of a deal. But it has put a hurting on the stock, and big investors are scared, and it's starting to scare little investors too. Friends, this is where I'm at with Fubo. Okay, yeah, $10, $20 a week, a month. By October of next year, you'll have a pretty nice little, place in Fubo. But I hope you're willing to lose all that money. Okay, because if this gets pushed again, if Disney comes out the winner, or it just doesn't come out that good for Fubo, the stock could bleed out more and it could go into a reverse split. That's the big fear right there. It doesn't mean that Fubo is going to go out of business in October. It just means that you as a stockholder could take the damage first before Fubo, the company, actually sees damage, okay? The investor will always take the first initial hit, okay? So that we're always the ones to storm the beach first, okay? And we will always take the damage. But there's always, like I said, there's always high risk. There's always high reward with that risk too. So, friends, I'm going to shut up now. Listen, I talked about DJT, talked about SoundHound, talked about Fubo here. That's how I feel about those plays, those companies. Let me know what you think. Am I just completely off my rocker here about Fubo? Maybe I'm just way too paranoid about it. Who knows? I hope the stock goes up. Listen, I hope it does. I hope I'm terribly wrong. But it seems to be the same old story here with Fubo. It doesn't want to run. Friends, take care. Bye-bye.